our next element, significance in history. Now, some folks have heard me ask before, not in a serious way, not like an accusatory way. So what? I don't know if anybody's ever been challenged by that question. I think the older you are, you probably were challenged by that question at some point, either by someone that you're talking to or a professor. I know Miss Byrd had a professor actually ask her that. You know, so I'm not saying this that I don't care about what you've said. And someone in this case, you know, what I'm saying is, imagine that someone asks you, so what? You need to be able to make the case, and your project does that. Talking about short-term and long-term effects of the event, and how does the topic affect history as we understand it? So your entire project, if you have your strong argument, then that itself is talking about the significance, especially in relation to the theme. But if you have a local topic, realize that, you know, when you're at regions and even when you're at state, we have some context. We come to it knowing something as judges and as mentors. But when you go to nationals, it's a clean slate. And so they bring to it what their knowledge is of American history, or you might have a judge that's, you know, a world historian, or you might have someone that's from the National Archives or whatever. And so you are going to be kind of taking your local topic to a different stage, and you need to make sure that you can make that argument beyond just the local, regional, and state kind of context. So that's something you may need to work on. The vice versa, I don't know if that's the correct term, but like if you have a World War II topic, or if you have a progressive era topic, it's a very broad topic, and people have some general knowledge of that topic. Then your challenge is to say why your element of it is significant in that bigger story. You know, this is a huge, World War II is a huge story. There's so many stories. Why is this story important? And it might have to do with the long-term effects. You might call that legacy, or long-term impact that you see, you know, in years after. So however you want to make, there are places you can make that claim, like in the conclusion. That's a great place sometimes to really play out that claim. But it needs to be something in the back of your mind for your entire project. Go back and check. Oh, you know, am I really making the argument of why this is important, not just to me, but why it should be important to you as the viewer, as the judge, or whatever. You chose the topic because it meant something to you. And I will say this as well. A lot of times when students get to the point you are between state and nationals, I might have seen their project or talked to them when they chose their topic. And maybe I saw the version that went from region to state. And then I see a version that they're working on from state to nationals. And I say, okay, well, why did you choose this topic? And they tell me some kind of incredible story about why they chose this topic, why it meant something to them. And I remember hearing that, or maybe I saw it in a first draft, and guess what? It's nowhere in their project anymore, because they've learned so much information that they've put that information in the project, but they lost what made it significant and why they cared to begin with. Go back to that. Go back to why you chose this topic in the first place. And then look at your project again. It might be the place to start. Not that I chose this topic like you do in the process paper, but maybe that's the story. Whatever got you interested is your hook in the beginning of your project to get the judges involved. And then see how your argument evolves from there. Be able to answer that question, so what? But you know what? Ask yourself that question. If your project no longer proves to you that this is significant, it just becomes a lot of information, then go back. Tighten up some of that. Find new sources. Create a source. I mean, create a secondary piece, whether it's, you know, a chart or a graph or something that helps you pull some of those words together, or just find some really powerful sources. Take, you know, where you have 4 or 5 images, choose one image that's really powerful that makes the statement. Sometimes that can be really helpful with significance. Again, this is a process. You've done an incredible job to get where you are. This is where you go back and you revise. You go back and look at what you had at state, take all the things that we've shared today, take what the mentors say, and then go back and look at it and just see what's natural to you. You'll see those places in your project. You're just now, after state, you are just now gaining your voice to address these aspects in the judge's evaluation. You know, historians all the time, they can spend years on topics. And what they wrote as a grad student is very different than what they wrote in their dissertation. And what they wrote in an article as a first year PhD student is different than what their dissertation is. It grows. So you all, whatever you do from here in any one of these areas, it's going to grow. And you're going to evolve in these areas. If you think about, especially those keywords again, analysis, thorough,